welcome to another episode of the Movie Docs. My name is Adonis.
And I'm Matt.
And this is the podcast that brings you the latest in movie news, previews, and reviews. Welcome back again for the fourth or fifth time. I've lost track at this point, but we're back. We're back on the mic. We're back to bring you guys weekly movie reviews. We're super excited to be back in the studio. Yeah, are you excited, Matt? Are you excited to be back to talk about movies?
Oh yeah, anytime that I have an excuse to go to the movie theater and I get to express my thoughts, it gets me really excited.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be back in the seat.
Awesome. Burning question on you guys might be if Jasmine is coming back. The plan is for her to come back. Absolutely. She is just a little bit busy this week, and I don't think she'll be on next week's episode either. But the plan is for the band to be officially back together. So hopefully we'll be hearing from her in a couple of weeks. She's had some exciting things going on in her life recently, so I'm sure she'll be excited to talk about that. Don't want to steal her thunder or spoil anything, so we'll let her share her news. So we're excited to be back. If you guys didn't check out, Matt and myself were on the Game Language podcast last weekend. We broke down the Borderlands movie with our friends and fellow podcasters, Troy and Jason. So if you guys want to check out that episode, you can find the Game Language podcast on Spotify and on YouTube at the Game Language podcast. They are also on Twitter. You can find them at Game Language Podcast on Twitter, I believe. So if you guys want to jump over there, check out episode 29. That's the episode we were on, and we can catch our thoughts on the Borderlands movie if you guys want to hear our sort of soft reopening that we did. So, but this week we have a bigger and hopefully better movie to discuss. We're going to be digging into Alien Romulus. That's going to be on the operating table this week. We've got some news stories to discuss. It is going to be a jam-packed reopening here at the Movie Docs General. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. The operating table this week, like I said, is on Alien Romulus. It was directed by Fede Alvarez, written by Fede Alvarez, Rodo Sayagues, I'm butchering that name, I'm sure, and Dan O'Bannon. Stars Kaylee Spaney, Isabella Merced, David Johnson, and Archie Renault. A quick synopsis courtesy of IMDb. While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. So it is still early in the weekend, but Matt, how is this thing doing at the box office so far?
Yeah, so this is really surprising. It has a budget of $80 million, which is a little bit on the lower side for a lot of these sci-fi movies.
For sure.
And right now it's got $18 million.
Okay.
But it's on the verge. It looks like it's tracking to make $40 to $42 million.
Wow. Okay. Solid opening weekend for sure, especially for an end of summer release. It's surprising that the budget was only $80 million, but that just goes to show that you don't need a huge budget to make a decent movie. So let's jump into the review. As per usual, we're gonna dig into three main categories here. We're gonna be talking about the writing, the performances, and then the technical aspects of the film. But before we get into the actual review, I think it's important to give the people a sort of baseline on our knowledge of the Alien franchise, so that we're going into this where everybody knows where we stand. So what's your exposure? What's your experience? How many of the Alien movies have you seen? What's been your thoughts up until this point?
So I came in on Prometheus.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So my cousins had watched the first few in front of me, but I think it was rated R, so my mom didn't let me watch them, and I've never watched them as an adult.
I see.
Prometheus was the first one, and then Alien Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I watched that one as well, and now I've watched Prometheus.
Oh, so you haven't seen, still to this day, you haven't seen
Romulus,
Alien or Aliens or Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection.
I watched the originals. I watched the awesome Alien versus Predator. No, I'm just kidding. I did, but they're not good. No, I haven't, and
Wow.
this makes
Okay.
me really do want to watch them.
Gotcha. Lots of Easter eggs in this movie, so I'm sure most of those went over your head. But a lot of them are like pop culture, like they're in pop culture. A lot of the references that were in this movie, so I'm sure you caught on to a few. Yeah, I in the past I had previously watched all of them. I actually watched all of them this week just to sort of get a refresher.
Damn.
Yeah, so I rewatched all of them with the exclusion of the Alien versus Predator movies, but those aren't real in the real canon. I don't think they're legitimate. They don't make any sense if you look into the lore of Alien. Like their placement in the timeline makes absolutely zero sense. So I'm just gonna assume that they or just sort of one off, or I guess two off.
They were a passion project. For
sure. But I don't think that they are actually valid sequels. And I love the Alien movies. I've loved most of them. There are 3 and 4, Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, I don't think are very good at all. They sort of take what had been established in those first 2 and just sort of, they try to amp it up. They try to turn it up, but it just doesn't work. I think they brought it back with Prometheus. Ridley Scott, back on the reins. I thought Prometheus was incredible. I know a lot of people didn't really like it or weren't really vibing with it. It was different. Obviously, it wasn't your prototypical Alien movie, but it was. I really enjoyed it. And Alien Covenant was solid. Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. Very middle of the road follow up to Prometheus, but I enjoyed it, and I think I think that they were on a sort of flow. They were on a run with these movies, so I was hoping that Romulus would keep up with it, and let's find out if it did. Let's jump into the review. First is the writing category. We're going to be talking about the plot, the dialogue, and the characters. Matt, you can start us out here. What did you think about the writing in the movie?
Okay, so I think the writing in the movie was good for the time. There was some
what do you mean by that?
So. And it's kind of like when we were talking about Borderlands. Okay. Someone says a saying in that movie that's like, what the hell? I'm too old for this.
Okay.
So there is some dialogue options where a character goes, the fuck was that? Or the fuck was that? And I just, for some reason, I was like, I don't know. That sounded weird to me, but I was like, and
interesting.
For this time, I guess that, what are the kids saying? So that was kind of the vibe I got from the dialogue every now and then.
Okay.
And again, it was just certain characters, but overall, the story I thought was really fun. I had a really because again, there are some pop culture moments that I've seen that I got to see again come back. And there's one, and I don't think it's a spoiler, but I'll save it for spoilers.
Yeah.
In the writing that was fun. I have to say, I could give this a 4.5. A 4. There is some weird dialogue options that do stick out, and even some characters, they feel too much of stereotypical, or not. I don't know if that's the right word.
But cliche?
Too cliche.
Okay.
But I had a fun time with it. I still think the writing is good.
Okay, I mean, 4 is not, that's a great score.
Yeah.
That's a very good score, so no need to justify that. That the dialogue parts interest me though. Like it's interesting that you felt that way. I guess we'll get into it in spoilers a little bit more. I really enjoyed the writing as well. I thought the story was a sort of back to basics. I think a lot of people their frustrations with the later sequels in the Alien franchise is that they get a little too convoluted. It's a little too complicated. It's a little too lore heavy. So a lot of people were sort of clamoring for this back to basics approach style of filmmaking and storytelling. And I think they definitely delivered. Anybody who was looking for a back to basics story, this is what you wanted. It's very sort of easy to understand. Everybody's motivations are laid out. We understand why characters are doing what they're doing.
Yep.
We understand the plot is very, I don't want to say basic in a bad way, but it is sort of, it's very clear what the story is, at least in the first couple of acts. So you know why they're doing what they're doing. You know where they're going. You understand everything. It's very easy to understand. And I think that it benefits that helps make the story better, I guess I'll say. And I do think that, you know, you have this younger cast of characters, these early 20-somethings, right? And I think that was designed to pull in a newer audience, you know, because,
Yes.
you know, the original Alien came out in 1979. You know, that's you're not going to be putting butts in seats, you know, based off of nostalgia alone. You need to get out there and you need to bring in a new audience, a new demographic. So I thought that was a brilliant idea. Yeah, I did. Obviously, the characters are a little cliche, but I think that's part of the sort of
Initiative to bring new people in.
That's the initiative to bring people in, and also that's sort of the skeleton of what Alien is, right? It's like you need those stereotypical character types in the movie because that's what Alien did. That's what the originals did. You know, you had you know, your characters who fit into specific roles. So yeah, I thought it did a great job as far as getting back to what people loved about those first two movies specifically. I thought the pacing was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It moved, you know, we weren't waiting around for stuff to happen.
Yeah.
It was like, here's the story, here's the setup, let's jump into telling that story. That was one of my biggest issues with Alien Covenant, was that there was just so much exposition in that movie. It was like an hour. You got halfway through the movie and nothing had really even happened yet, you know? So I really did appreciate, again, getting back to that sort of fast-paced, you know, event-based storytelling. And it's still a slow burn at some points. You know, it does still take a while for things to happen, but you know, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time because you know what's going to happen. You know, we've all seen the trailers. It's an Alien movie. We all know what's going to happen. So I just thought they did a really good job with the pacing. Another thing I wanted to call out was that obviously the xenomorph is the you know, the star of the show.
Oh yeah,
in all of these movies. So I really did appreciate the care and the sort of love that went into designing the xenomorph character and the respect that it was given. I do wish it was on screen a little bit more. I wish we saw it a little bit more. But again, going back to the basics of the original Alien movie, it is sort of the monster in the shadows in those first two. So I understand why we didn't see it as much as maybe I wanted to. But yeah, I did appreciate the care that went into it. It was really, they had some really sort of badass moments when it was on screen. So yeah. And lastly, I just think there was a lot of new mixed in with the old. So it wasn't just a nostalgia fest. You know, it wasn't just a bunch of callbacks. There are callbacks. There are direct correlations to the other films, but it wasn't just that. You know, I think Fede Alvarez really took care to add in new ideas and new concepts and a lot of new mixed in with the old. So I thought that really, really worked. Yeah. So I thought overall the writing was really good. Was it great? Not necessarily. It was very, very good. So I'm going to go a little actually lower than you. I'm going to go 3.8. Yeah. I thought it was really, really good, but compared to some of the other films in the franchise, I think it could have been better, but yeah.
Is the best one the first one?
In my opinion, yeah, I think the first one is the best one for sure. Cool. Let's get into the performances next here. What did you think about the acting in the movie?
Man, so for me, the standouts were Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson.
Yeah.
They had a really great on-screen chemistry for the two characters that they're connected to each other. And I really thought like David Johnson was really good.
Yeah.
Like I had a really great time with his character in the second act.
Okay.
And I was just like, man, he's really compelling. And I really liked and I liked him because he annoyed the shit out of me. Spike Fern.
Bjorn.
Yeah. I was like multiple times, I was like, someone punch him in the face. But I was like, he's doing really good at making me hate him. So good job, bro. I really thought it was a very good. He did very good at conveying his role.
Gotcha.
Outside of that, I did think I would have liked a little bit more from Isabella Marced. It felt like her character was, here she is, and then you're like, you only got like maybe a handful of scenes with her. So I would have liked to have seen her more. Eileen Wu, kind of the same thing. I liked the and now going based off of what you were saying, every character fills a role in a stereotype from the first movie. It makes a lot more sense why I was having my problems with the writing, because I was like, man, this is really like a early horror movie, and it's like, yeah, that's the base structure of Alien, is being that classic horror movie.
Yeah.
So I would have liked more from Eileen, but it's like, hey, no, she's supposed to be the pilot, and then she has another role to play, and then she's done.
Yeah.
Same thing with Archie Renault. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right.
Yeah.
He has a role, does XYZ, and I feel like his was kind of like, I don't know. It felt like the main two characters were Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson, and they were like, these other ones are stepping stones to the story that we're trying to tell. And again, that's totally fine, but it just was like, oh, it just feels like it was like I don't want to say throwaway cast, but it felt like they were just throwaway characters.
Yeah, and again, I think that does come back to that's every Alien movie.
Yeah.
90% of the cast is going to end up as xenomorph fodder. Like they're just there to be killed by the aliens. So again, not to keep comparing this to the past movies, but in Covenant, it was just like we spent so much time with the characters, and we got to know them. We were like supposed to have this emotional connection with them, and then they were dead 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
So
true.
it was like at least they didn't do that in this movie. In this movie, it was, hey, like you're gonna get enough so that again that you understand their motivations, but we're not gonna spend too much time developing these characters that are ultimately just gonna end up dead anyway.
Touche.
Yeah. So that's why I appreciated it, and that's sort of the style of what the other films were. You have Ripley is your main character. She is, she's most likely gonna survive. Everyone else is expendable. So
yeah.
Speaking of Ripley, you didn't give your score. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
No.
I honestly, I'm gonna give this a 4 for acting.
Okay.
I had David Johnson alone makes this like a he I don't want to say upgrade, but he did exponential.
Okay.
I really liked him. I really liked his character. He played both of his parts in that movie very, very well. So I liked it. So I gotta give it a 4 just based off of him.
All right. Fair enough.
What about you?
So going back to it, yes, Ripley obviously is the iconic character from this franchise.
For sure.
Everybody knows, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, the original, badass. And so I think it was really, those were big shoes for Kaylee Spaney to try to fill. It's going to be tough for her to deliver a performance as compelling as Sigourney Weaver was able to in those first 2 movies. But I think she did a good job. Was she as compelling as Ripley? I can't really say, because to be completely honest with you, the first time I saw Alien, I was like sort of, I don't want to say disappointed, but I was like, oh, why do people love this character so much? Over the years, I've developed a bigger appreciation for her character and what she means and what she did. But in that original initial screening, I wasn't as blown away. The character was maybe built up a little bit too much for me in my head.
Okay.
Then, when I actually saw her on screen, I was a little bit let down. So who knows? Maybe in, a year or 2, this character will be better received in my head. But I think she did good enough. She was a good enough protagonist for us to follow as a character. I thought Kaylee Spaney did a good enough job portraying that character. So yeah, she was solid. She was really good. But I agree with you. I think David Johnson stole the show in most of the scenes that he was in. Just an extremely likable character, an extremely likable guy. I haven't seen anything else that he's been in. I know he's been in a handful of other movies and TV shows.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't personally seen anything else that he's been in. He killed it. Like, you cared about him, you cared for him, you were upset with him in some scenes. You were like, you understood the way he was thinking. And it was just, he did a really good job of portraying that sort of dynamic character. And again, we both mentioned that, so we'll get into it in spoilers on what we mean by that, obviously. But if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, so I thought he did a fantastic job. Again, he was the highlight for me from a performance standpoint, for sure. yeah, the other characters, they were also very good. I'm glad that they didn't try to overdo it. I don't think there was much overacting. I think you have, like you said, Spike Fern as Bjorn was sort of the dick of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Every you need a dick in every movie, right? You
Yeah.
can't all be likable characters. So he did a really good job of making you not like him. But even him, you understood his character motivations, right? You understood the way he felt and why he felt that way. Could he have done different things? Obviously, absolutely. But I thought his performance was spot on. I didn't really have the same issues with Isabella Merced as you did. I think her character was a little more subdued than the rest. She was sort of the quiet one, She didn't have the biggest personality. But I thought she did a good job delivering on the horror elements that she was supposed to deliver on. She's someone who's been in a lot of different movies and a lot of different types of movies. So I think her range is really good, that she can do something like this, and she can do something as, cheesy as the Dora the Explorer movie,
True.
So I really did appreciate that, the fact that she could sort of fall into this role and really deliver on it. So yeah, she's a young actress that I've been a fan of for quite some time, and I'm excited to see where her career goes. But yeah, I think this is just another great role for her to add to her resume. I thought she did a good job. It wasn't the most character-y character of the bunch, so she didn't have a ton to do, but I thought she did what she needed to do with it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, other than that though, I thought the performances were solid, and nothing really too crazy. I'm gonna go again more conservative. I'm gonna go 3.5. Nothing crazy good aside from maybe David Johnson, but that's not enough to kick it up to the next level for me. So 3.5.
Okay. It's modest.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna jump into the technical category now, where we're gonna be discussing the directing, the visual effects, the soundtrack and score, and the cinematography. Yeah, what did you think about the technical aspects?
I think I've said this before. I love when there's remakes or sequels of movies that are older, and you don't get rid of the roots of it. So it's like they get into the space station, and there's not this like, oh, because now we have better technology, better green screen. Yeah, I love that they didn't erase the bones of the original Alien.
Okay,
like the suits still look the same. It's not like, oh,
sure,
we have access to these new high-tech suits or these new weapons now. Mm-hmm. No, they kept it very outside of like the coloration for the guns. They kept it to like, hey, this is the stuff that we used back in the original. We're gonna just recolor it, or like, but we're not gonna do massive redesigns.
Yeah.
So I really, really love when movies do that.
Gotcha.
Because Star Wars does that. Like every time, like you see like inside of the spaceships, they don't get the buttons or the format changes. So
yeah,
I like when movies keep the original bones.
Continuity.
Yeah,
it's important.
Same thing even with the Alien. With the xenomorph, they could have gotten real crazy with it and like made it stand out more. But I like that they still kept it to, like you said, a creature in the shadows.
Yeah.
And when you see it, it's like, man, like they do very, very well at making it unsettling because they don't give it a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
Or like when you see it, it's doing what it needs to do, and then it goes.
Yeah.
So I think the technical was really fun in those regards. There was like a slight issue with me with a character, and it was just because like you could clearly tell that it was not an AI generated. What's the right word here? Rook.
Okay. Yeah.
So he just kind of was off-putting to me as a character because I was like, oh man, like the CGI is not the best right here, but it's like there's probably more going on behind the scenes that I just wasn't aware of.
Sure.
But no, I think the technical, I think they did really good, especially with the designs of all the creatures, because we get to see a good amount of them on screen.
Yeah.
I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Easily another 4 for me in this regard.
Okay. Wonder what your final score is going to be.
A 1.
This is where I thought the movie really sort of set itself apart from the other sequels. I thought the Fede Alvarez, again, the care and the sort of I don't even know the word for it. The respect. The respect is the best thing I can say. The care and the respect that he showed this franchise and these creatures through the visual effects, through specifically the sound design. Man, the sound design in this thing was insane.
Yes.
And it's like people don't talk about sound. You might hear about, soundtracks or, scores and music, but the sound design, the audio editing is just like, this is a masterclass, man. There was like from the moments where the sound was just very jarring and intense, and to those moments where there was no sound, which was almost more intense, which was almost more jarring, the absence of sound. It was just extremely well done. So I just gotta tip my hat to him for that, because it was just, it blew me away. And maybe it's because I saw this film in an IMAX and it was like big and loud, and when there was no sound, that was deafening. Like it was just so good. Yeah, like there were several jump scares in the movie, and the sounds of the jump scares are what did it for me more than the actual visuals. So just gotta again tip my hat to him for that sound design. Incredible. The lighting also is not something that people talk about a lot, but a lot of these shots and the lighting involved with those shots was just so well done, so gorgeous, so incredibly well crafted, and it just again took me aback because it's not something that you see a lot. There's not a lot of moments when I'm watching film, especially summer blockbusters, where you can tell that there was so much care and respect and dedication put into something like the lighting. So I was just really thoroughly impressed with those aspects of the film, and that's what I get excited for, right? Like, I think the technical aspects of filmmaking are what make filmmaking one of, if not the best mediums for art and entertainment. So that's what I really sink my teeth into. And when I see someone who is such a master of their craft and they're able to do things like this, it really does excite me. So again, tip of my hat to you, sir, for the care and dedication that you put into those things. I mean, obviously the CGI, when you have $80 million budget, you can't go crazy with the CGI, sure. When you have $200 million, you can't go crazy with the CGI, as Marvel has shown us multiple times. But so I did understand that there were a few moments that were maybe where the CGI wasn't the best, but I think they were few and far between. I don't think it never took me out of the movie. I was always, the threat always it seemed real to me. Like, I never saw something on screen and was like, oh, that looks so bad. I'm not gonna ding it too much for that. The visual effects I thought were really good. It seemed grimy, it seemed gritty. I really did appreciate. I know we only got a little bit of it, but when we were on planet, and on their original planet where they were coming from, I really did like the set and production design of those scenes. It all screamed authenticity to me. So I really enjoyed that part of it. So I was, again, very, very impressed by the technical aspects of this film, so much so that I'm going to break into that 4 territory finally. I'm going to go 4.6. I really did think it was really, really good. No, I don't have much to complain about with it. There's a few things in spoilers that maybe I'll get to as to why I can't give it a medical marvel in that regard. So, but yeah, just very, very, very impressed with the technical aspects of the film. So, yeah, really good. All right. So with that being said, we're going to jump into some spoilers. As per usual, Adonis from the future is going to jump in here and let you guys know where you can go if you want to avoid those spoilers. So where do the people need to go? 56 minutes and 7 seconds. Thank you, sir. And let's jump into it. So, so obviously you mentioned it, Ian Holm, the guy who played Ash in the original Alien, back as, I can't even say he played Rook because he's dead. He's not alive anymore. So he didn't actually play Rook. They used AI to generate his speech and his
thought so. Okay.
Sound. They had to, right? Because he's not around. So that's a touchy subject. I know we've had previous conversations about that in the past, but apart from it being unsettling because it is completely CGI, what are your thoughts on that? Like, using someone who's passed away, obviously their family had to sign off on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's always been my biggest thing, because that was the biggest cause of the actor strike recently. was
one of the biggest. Yeah, one of the
was
biggest
them
reasons.
like being against AI or CGIing them their lines and stuff like that. So for me, it's like as long as the proper respects were paid and the money was paid to the family,
Yeah.
then fine. I don't. And again, I'm not an actor, so I have no real say on it. But that I do. It was weird to me because I was like, was he not available? I didn't know he had passed.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it goes right back to like even Rogue One when they used Thrawn,
right?
Thrawn.
Yeah.
It was
Thrawn.
just like, oh man, it's again, at least it wasn't done disrespectfully. But it was weird to see where I was like, oh man, like the CGI is real bad on him.
Yeah.
And to me, it even looked worse when she's Isabella Marcet's character is on the ship and he's like, hey, turn on autopilot so I can get you out of here. Something about his lips moving, there was like a noticeable delay to me, and I was like, oh,
That could have been because it's all like, the ship was falling apart, right? Like, the connection might not have been good. That might have been intentional.
maybe.
Yeah. I was going to say, because I think that they should have maybe done that the whole time, like just had him speaking through a monitor.
Yes.
Rather than actually, it was a cool callback. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it was cool to see him, again, from the first movie, because he was the synth that was sort of, it's weird because you get, the synths are always, they're always MacGuffins in these films. So they're always important to the plot. And the first one, Ash, and I know you haven't seen them, so this is kind of a spoiler, but Ash he's revealed to be like a bad guy. Like, he's revealed to be someone who we can't trust. I don't want to go too much into it because I want you to watch that movie, but he's revealed to be not a good guy. In Aliens 2, Sigourney Weaver, because of her distrust for Ash, in the first one, she encounters another synth named Bishop, who ends up being a good guy. And then in Prometheus, David kind of turns out to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And then in Alien Covenant, Walter, the other Michael Fassbender droid, turns out to be a good guy. So it's like they bounce back and forth between, can we trust the synth or can we not trust the synth?
Yeah.
So it's a really cool dynamic that I really hope they continue to play with if they continue to make more of these films, because it's always interesting to think about if I can trust this synth or not. Like, is this a good one or is this a bad one? And we kind of get double duty on that in this movie
with David.
with Andy, because when he was Andy, he was clearly a good guy.
Yes.
And when he got his upgrade, I guess he turned into maybe not a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a bad guy, quote unquote. He was sort of very mission oriented,
What's
very
best for the
logical.
company.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh man, one of my favorite scenes is them when Isabella Merced's character gets to the door and she's knocking on it and he's like, let her in, like open the door, and you see the xenomorph in the background.
Yeah.
And Andy's like, I can't, that's what it's waiting for me to do.
Yup.
It's literally waiting for me to open the door. If we open the door, it's gonna come in here and kill us. I can't do it. Logically, that's not, that doesn't make the most sense.
Yep.
So he couldn't do it, because it's that typical. And I don't know if they go into this in Prometheus and Covenant, so I don't know if you know this, but it's the robots in this movie have the same, laws of robotics that we see across science fiction, period. It's like they can't hurt humans. Like they've been programmed not to hurt humans. They can't do anything that would directly result in a human being hurt. But there's that thing like that we discover in this movie where if I have to say 4 humans or 3 humans, the logical choice is for me to sacrifice the 3 humans to save the 4 humans, right? So,
yeah, Rain does say that.
Yeah.
When you find out about Bjorn.
Exactly.
And his
yeah,
moms.
You find out. Yeah. So that's that. I think that sort of the reason for that plot point was to explain how David could not open the door, or Andy could not open the door for Isabella Merced's character, because that would put a greater number of humans at risk,
Fair.
So, but yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes, just because it also showed the intelligence of the xenomorph, because it was like, man, this isn't just some mindless
Killing machine.
It's doing everything for a reason.
I really love when horror movies have the creature hiding in the background.
Yeah.
Or like, and again, like how you even called it out, the lighting.
Yeah.
Sometimes the light would flash and you would see it moving, or you would see that it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And I really, really respected that.
There's some super creepy moments in the first two movies that they've sort of gotten away from since then, and they did try to recreate a couple of them this time around, and it worked. Like there's just the way that the xenomorphs move in the first two, because they were practical in those first two movies and they weren't CGI. I think it was like a hybrid in this one. I think some of it was CGI, some of it was practical, obviously, but there were some moments in here where like the camera will pan and then you don't see the xenomorph in the background until like a character walks by it.
Yeah.
And then it moves like that. Yeah, that's the type of stuff that's a direct callback from the first two. Like there's so much of that in the first two movies that it's like it makes your skin crawl. Like, 'cause there's a scene in the second movie specifically where it's like you were looking at this shot the whole time, but your eyes are focused on the main character walking by.
Yeah.
And then the character walks by and then you see the xenomorph come out of basically like a camouflage. Like it was there the whole time.
Oh, wow.
You just didn't notice it because that's not where your eyes were,
focusing.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of really cool moments. But some of the things that they added, like that pod or whatever, that is just, it looked so gross.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. It was hard for me to keep looking at the screen when that thing was on the screen. I was like, oh
that was
God.
a really weird choice. I was like,
so gross. Yeah.
This reminds me of a movie called Teeth, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's new. Like that's not something we've seen before.
You've never seen them progress, like go into like a
no. In the originals,
cocoon.
They grow very fast. Obviously, little buddy pops out of the chest, and then in 2 hours he's that full grown xenomorph. Yeah. So, now I guess we know how that happens through that cocoon like thing or whatever. But in the previous movies, you just see like it sheds its skin. So a character will find like a xenomorph carcass, or something, but you never see it actually in the pod transitioning, which that was unsettling. That was gross. Again, it was just really hard for me to keep my eyes on the screen when that was going down.
Would you be a sympathizer?
Yeah, I feel like you're supposed to say yes. Like I feel like only a dick would say no. Like these things have feelings, and they have, they might be programmed feelings, but they're so human like that if you were ever like just a monster to one like Bjorn was, like that's basically you being a monster to a person. Even though it's a robot, even though it's a computer, like, like we talked about it before. I say thank you to my Amazon Echo.
Alexa.
So
Same.
I'm sympathetic to something that clearly doesn't look like a human. But
I punched Bjorn twice in that movie in my mind. If I was like his cousin in that situation, like when they first get on Romulus, and just something about like the way that he's just like he holds up his hand and then he puts the thing in the lamp in Andy's hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I get it. Your mom, what happened to his mom, I would be affected.
Sure.
But something in my mind is like, but it wasn't Andy that made that call.
No.
Andy's not that. If Andy was the one, hey, I get it. Andy was the one that made that call that killed my mom. Okay, I understand you being a dick.
Yeah.
Andy wasn't that synth.
Yeah.
So there was like at least, and there was another time. Oh, when he runs away, I get it though. She's his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and I don't think they were leaving. I think he was just trying to get her away from Andy.
Do you think so? Because I thought he was dipping, and I was like,
no,
fuck
I don't think they were gonna dip. Because I think he was just getting her away until he says something.
Turn off Andy.
Yeah, until they turned off Andy, or until they could prove that she was okay. I think because Rook tells him, 60-40 that the facehugger. Either 60-40 chance that the facehugger already, did his job. So I think he was. I hope because that's what they made him seem like. Yeah, he was an asshole, but it didn't seem like he was like gonna kill all of his friends, to save his girlfriend.
Something about the running away scene and how he gets on the ship and he tells her to start the ship up.
Yeah, which you kind of had to do because Andy was about to go in there and wreck shit.
Yeah, dude. I love when he gets how well he transitions from like the robot, that the defective robot, to the cold calculate when he's running.
Yeah.
And he gets to that door and he's just holding it up. I was like,
that was really cool.
Yeah, this is...
Even when he grabs the face hugger when he first switches, that was really good.
Yeah, I loved it, man. Again, David Johnson, man, I can't wait to see more of him. But yeah, he really was a good standout for me. And I love the, like, who's the villain? Like, yes, the xenomorph is the villain because it's the monster, but Rook is doing his due.
Yeah.
And then Andy does kind of, because of the upgrade, does his.
It's always, and that's the thing about these movies, the company is always the real monster. Yeah. Like the company is always the real bad guy. Because you think about it, like these, like, you know, no one told them to grow xenomorphs in the ship. Like no one, like the xenomorph, it's not the xenomorph's fault. Like, do you blame a tiger for mauling a tourist when they're walking through the jungles? No. You know, it's not the tiger's fault. Xenomorph is just doing what the xenomorph does. It's a little bit different with the xenomorph because they're intelligent. But you know, it's just trying to survive. That's its primary directive, right? Is to survive. What do I need to do to survive? There's fresh meat on this plane.
I need to reproduce
this ship. I need to do what I need to do.
I was so mad when Rain went to like get the visa, and they were like, and you see it say transfer eligible. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, it needs to be 2,400 hours. Yeah. I was like, man, I would straight up tell that lady, you better not come outside of this cubicle. I will find a way to get you.
Yeah. That's what I meant, that the character, it was clear. Is that some revolutionary plot point? No. We've probably seen something like that before. Yeah. You know, but it works. It works so that we know why she had to do what she had to do. Yes. You know? What did you think about the third act? The human morph.
I love that it was a callback to Prometheus. Because it looked like those original aliens.
Kinda, yeah. And when it was skinnier. When it was a baby, it did. That's when I first saw it as a baby, and I was like, "Oh, are we going back to?" Yeah. But then it was like, "No, this is not. This is not the same thing."
That thing was so fucking weird looking too. I feel like
that was unsettling too.
Yeah, dude. When you see a full standing and like the way that it's the xenomorph kind of hybrid thing that it is, I was like, "Oh, this is fucking ugly."
Yeah, it's not the first time we see that. Because in Alien Resurrection, there's a very similar type of xenomorph alien hybrid. Yeah. That's been done before. So it's been done in Alien Resurrection. It was done in Prometheus. Like, we've seen them experiment with breeding humans and xenomorphs. Yes. Right? We've seen that before, but it was done differently. So I did appreciate that it wasn't just a rehash of what we've already seen.
That birthing scene was grotesque. Yeah. It was very. I know Fede Alvarez was the one that did this movie, but I was like, did he reach out to Eli? He's like, hey, Eli, can I get a quick pointer for a scene I want to do? Eli Roth was like, slap. So I just did Borderlands, and that movie fucking sucked. But let's do this scene.
That birthing scene from this movie, or the abortion scene from Prometheus?
Okay, that sucks. Both not fun. No. I don't know. I think the birthing scene too.
Really?
I think the abortion scene is rough.
That scene is rough, and it's because it's like about to come out of her, and like you feel like the tension, like you're like, get the thing out of her. Yeah. Jeez, like get it out. Like, and it's just that scene always. I love that scene.
That one made my skin crawl. This one, I don't know what it was, man. It's something about
actually birthing it.
Yeah. It made my skin crawl.
Yeah. At least with the abortion scene, it was like she was in a medical pod, like, you know, it was gonna be sterile, like, you know. In this one, it just felt dirtier. It felt like it was gross.
So I want to say one thing that made me laugh, because I laughed twice. It was so stupid. When Andy saves Rain from the xenomorph in the elevator shaft, and he goes, "Get away from her, you bitch." Yeah. So the thing is, I laughed at his delivery, and I was like, ha, that's funny. Yeah. And then my dumbass realized that's what's said in the first movie.
In the second one, yeah.
Oh, the second one, I was like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was that guy. I saw this in an IMAX on Friday night, so lots of people there. I assume lots of real Alien fans. I got a big cheer in the audience.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because it was like, he says, "Get away from her." And then you think, oh, okay, that was a nice little callback, but then he finishes it with the "you bitch." Yeah. And everybody was like, hell yeah.
Would the synth really say that? Who knows? But I'm okay. I'm happy that he did. Yeah. I felt so bad for I forget his name, but Bjorn, the guy that was the love interest for her at first. Bjorn's cousin.
Oh, the main guy, Tyler, right?
Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah.
Archie Renault.
Yeah.
Man, the xenomorph, it's so crazy because it's like, where does the dangerous side of the xenomorph end? Because it's like,
it's a perfect organism, man.
It's a perfect organism. Its fucking tail is a spear.
Yeah.
It's got the secondary mouth. And it's funny, too, because I love that they checked off every checkbox for an alien movie.
Yeah.
From what I know from pop culture is someone got face hugged. Someone gave birth to a chest popper. Someone died by acid, by the acid blood. And someone got second mouth, if you will. Well, tail and second mouth.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man. Again, Bjorn dying. I was like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
When he was dying, I was like, roll around. Like, dude, get out of the way.
Why? First of all, why are you staying by the alien
He was trying to kill
organ?
it. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But, like, the second it falls on me, and I was like, oh, no, my hand is melting.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Run. Leave. What are you doing staying right there? And I was like, I guess it was a very deserving death because he was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess this makes sense because you're a fucking moron who doesn't realize, hey, roll? Yeah. Is stop, drop, roll not a thing in the fucking future?
Granted, he probably would have died anyway because, I mean, it's going to eat through his skin and it probably had already dropped on his chest by that point. But, yeah, like if that was me, I would have been like that thing is sitting there dripping acid blood on you. Don't just stay underneath it. Like, I know you're in pain and agony, but roll around, buddy. Like, roll out of the path of the fucking acid.
Yeah, especially because when you see it dripping,
yeah,
you can see that he even looks down to notice that whatever's dripping from it is releasing acid.
Yeah,
or something that's burning. And then he looks up, and then the fucking little feeler is out, and I don't know if the feeler cut his face, because if the feeler did cut his face, then you're absolutely right. He was dead, because I assume it's got the acid on it too. But then he falls down, and then he stays under it.
Yeah,
Bro,
he just stays under
get
it.
the hell up, dude.
Yeah. And then obviously we got another callback. We got another face-to-face scene, like in Alien 3.
Yeah.
Where it's in that scene where the alien, on the elevator scene, and, you know, it's coming down, but the alien gets super close, and so a bunch of callbacks like that. There was they talked about the Nostromo, which was the ship from the first one.
That's the name. Okay, Nostromo.
Yeah, and then they talk about the Prometheus. You know, we get to see the little pods that we find in Prometheus on screen that they pulled back.
Yep.
There's a lot of callbacks and Easter eggs in this. I want to see it again just so I can catch more before I watch some sort of breakdown video of all the ones that I missed.
Fair.
Yeah, but it was really well done. But again, it never seemed like nostalgia bait. You know, it never seemed like, hey, we're relying strictly on the nostalgia to sell you guys on this movie. It felt new. It felt different. It had that claustrophobic feel to it that the first one did, but it also had that sort of action movie vibe that the second one had. You know, it had everything. You know, it was really a good threequel. I think it should have been the threequel. I think this should have they should have done something like this for Alien 3 instead of doing Alien 3. Alien 3 was a mess.
Oh, is that bad?
It's just not good. I know people are sympathetic to it because of a few scenes, but it's just not, in my opinion, it's not good.
What was your favorite scene in this movie?
In this movie?
On the technical side, because you really called out the technical.
Yeah, I want to either say that I don't know if my favorite scenes would be from the, because I just love everything about the technical, so there was like little things sprinkled throughout. But my favorite scene is probably either that scene where David explains why he can't open the door for Isabella Masred, which I can't remember her character's name.
K.
Okay. Either that or the birth of the xenomorph. Like that was, because I just thought that's the first time we've gotten like a slow motion, like, you know, musical build up.
Oh, it coming out.
Like a full blown, hey, this is what you're dealing with type scene. That's the first time we've gotten one of that in 5 movies or 6 movies. So that was probably my favorite scene.
I was gonna say, for me on the acting side, it's definitely when David is explaining why he can't open the door.
Yeah,
because it's like you want to be mad at him.
Yeah,
but there's another part of me that's like, there's always that one smart character in a movie who's like, I can't do it.
Yeah,
why? Because Do you not see it sitting there perched, looking at us?
Exactly.
This isn't an idiotic creature.
Yeah.
It's saying, "Do it.
Yeah.
Open the door." So I love when he explains it, and I even love. I just loved his delivery.
Yeah.
His delivery was so solid. But on a technical side, I really liked the shootout scene when she's getting charred, and that was terrifying.
Yeah.
When Tyler gets picked up, and you realize, oh, it's not one xenomorph.
Yeah.
There's like 12.
Yeah.
And when she goes back to get him, and she leaves, when Rain goes back down to go get Andy, sends the elevator up, and then she's in the birthing hall, if you will, and she just does that full shootout.
Yeah.
I really loved it's like, because Andy tells her, if you do this, their blood will fall down to the ground and it will compromise the ship.
Yeah.
And she's like, turn off the gravity. I was like, that's a really cool callback.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool like stuff like that where you're like, oh, that felt important. I'm sure that's going to come up later.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, especially when she turned it off, and it then again it did the whole like, hey, I purge, so it's gonna go back down.
Yeah.
But I loved like her navigating the acid.
Yeah.
Did not love not that I didn't love it, but like when she uses the gun so that she dodges the big pool of acid.
Oh yeah.
I was like, damn, you got to keep those bullets. But I get it though, because that is straight up, that's death.
You know what scene I also really liked was the facehugger walking through the facehugger hall, and then when you see the goosebumps pop up on Tyler's arm, and he says like goosebumps sweat will bring your temperature down, and they'll be able to see you. And then the slow pan to him when he realizes, oh, they can see us now, and just a run.
Yeah,
run.
So
So good. Yeah, that was.
Did you take, if you were Tyler, did you take that phone call?
You have. I mean, you have to, right? I
Do
mean,
you?
You can't. I mean, that's your sister, right? Like,
As an only child, that phone got put on silent. Boop.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been on silent to begin with, but like, if you hear your sister screaming and crying on the end of the phone, like, I think brotherly instincts take over.
I'm happy I'm not cursed with that. I'm an only child, because that scene, the face huggers are always unsettling to me because I have arachnophobia. So when I see them, those motherfuckers move like spiders.
Yeah.
And especially when they're and obviously I'm showing you, but the listeners, the way that they move is so insectoid in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like when I saw that whole section is like, oh, I died.
Yeah.
Like we have to walk through them. Andy, just leave me here. Just bro, I don't know what happens, but I'm also amazed that he, because like, well, one, the face hugger when they were in the water got its thing on him in him.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, why did that one take such a long time? But then,
because I mean, they have to go through a process, right? It's like you got to put it in, you got to pump the embryo into the body. I think if it just slides in really quick, like it's not just gonna be like like.
oh no,
it needs a little time.
I don't like where this conversation's go. We could skip right past this part.
But that was even cool. Like him explaining why raising the heat would because that's something we never knew.
Yeah.
Going into it like that they don't have eyes, so it's all about movement and body heat. Freezing the tail, which that's never been brought up before, was a cool little addition. Again, like little things that he added to where it wasn't just a rehash of what we'd already seen. Was really cool.
I got so mad at how frivolous they were at using the cryo fuel.
Oh yeah.
There was a few points where I was like, don't you need this damn thing to get you to Uvala?
But I mean, at that point, right, it's survival, right?
I
guess. Hey, do
we
survive? Hey, I'm happy to go back down to planet with 0 days of sun, if I can escape these things.
Do you think, and this will be the end for me because I think we're good to go. Yeah. Do you think there'll be a second one?
I think there will be. I think especially since this movie is doing so well financially and also critically, like it's gotten like an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Wow.
Yeah, fans really seem to like it. So, I think so. I think I would be happy to see a continuation of this story, because how many we got 4 films with Ripley, and we really probably should have only gotten 2. So if we get another one with Rain, I'm okay with that. Like, I think it's fine. Like, I wouldn't be against a sequel to this movie.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see Rain and Andy come back.
Yeah.
Especially with that ending of her putting him into the cryopod and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then she gets in it too. Because there's no after credit scene.
No, yeah. So there's
which I respect.
Yeah, in a world where every movie almost feels like you have to wait to the end of the credits, I'm glad that tell the story in the time you're allotted. Like,
Yes, please.
We don't need to wait.
I'll accept a mid-credit scene, but end credit, come on, man, you're killing me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would want a second one because again, I liked Andy and Rain.
Yeah.
So
it'd be interesting to see what story they decided to tell because you can't have aliens without the xenomorph, so it would have to come back. But they figured out how to bring it back 7 times. So
yeah, and so here's my thing: if they do, she didn't get rid of Isabella Marcet's body. Isabella's body is still up there where the cryo things were.
You would think so. Yeah, they don't ever show it after she gets killed, but
how did it absorb her?
I think it was like eating her. I think it was like either sucking her blood or sucking whatever was
she looked
left
like a
over.
husk.
Yeah.
Okay. But because the reason why I'm basing it off of like you don't see her get rid of her body, the whole scene where like she injects herself with the stuff.
Yeah.
You see the rat expand and get really fucking jacked up.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, well, she probably injected it and maybe it went to the embryo, and obviously it went to the embryo.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's a part of it that stayed with her, and yes, it ate her, but it didn't. She's still alive.
Yeah.
But that's my thing.
I would wonder also. I mean, because we don't see those other injectors. Like
where do those go?
Yeah, where those go. So they could still be on the ship, and they get to this planet.
Oh man, Rook did say he sent a message to the company.
That's true, to meet them on. No, but he sent it to meet them on the planet down below. Not. But then they switched course and they're going.
But she went to sleep.
Yuvaga. Yeah, so it could be they could follow her to Yuvaga, or they could intercept her on the way to Yuvaga. There's a bunch of different ways that they could go with it. Obviously.
There's potential for it too.
Yeah, for sure. But there's definitely potential for a 2.
But yeah, I'm good, man. Anything else you want to say?
I think I'm good. There was one thing, but I can't remember what it was, so we'll move on. All right, so we're going to jump out of spoilers and into our diagnosis. So yeah, Matt, what's your overall diagnosis for Alien Romulus?
I mean, this is a easy 4 for me. I didn't think that I was a fan of Aliens, but I loved Prometheus. I loved Covenant.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed Romulus.
Nice.
There was a stint where I thought this was the first ship. Very sorry for people who are avid Aliens fans. I will be getting on board now and go watch the first one.
Do it. Yeah.
Probably today. But no, easily this was a 4. The cast, I really thought David and oh my gosh, I can't really get her name. Kaylee were just good.
Yeah.
They had really good chemistry, and yeah, easily a 4. Easily
nice.
A 4. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little more conservative. I'm trying to be in this new age of the movie docs. I'm trying to be a little more critical than I have been in the past. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3.8. I really did enjoy it. There wasn't anything like glaringly wrong with it. But as a film in general, it does have that summer movie feel to it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think when I think Alien, I do think I think you can go beyond that. I think the first one showed that. I think Prometheus showed that. So it would have been nice to see maybe the story take a little more of a deviation from that summer blockbuster action movie type vibe. And I think that Fede did a great job with the technical aspects of it. That was clearly the standout for me. But yeah, I thought it was a very good movie, something I would be interested in seeing again. Is it going to end up on any top 10 list for me? Probably not, so that's why I'm not going to go any higher. But I thought it was good. And if I'm looking at this in terms of the other movies, I would probably I'll put Prometheus above it. So I go Alien 2, Prometheus, Alien 2, Aliens, Prometheus, and then Romulus. I think it's better than Covenant. I think it's better than 3 and 4, definitely. But yeah, I would say it's the worst of the good Aliens movies. But that's not to say it's a bad movie, but I would put it at the bottom of the Alien movies that I like.
But definitely better than Borderlands.
Definitely better than Borderlands. Yeah, what's not better than Borderlands?
Dirt. Wet dirt.
No, I didn't hate Borderlands as much as you did, obviously. I did have one of our friends reach out to me, say Matt sounds offended by this movie after listening to our podcast, and I was like, yeah, he does.
Yeah, and it's so funny too because like I went and talked to, and this isn't a Borderlands thing. Very quick little side piece. There were people who agreed with me who were video gamers of the series who were like, the fact that the guns weren't unique really pissed them off too. And I was like, solidarity. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, no.
Hey, fair enough. To each their own. All right. But if you guys had a chance to see Alien Romulus over the weekend, definitely let us know what you thought about it. We would love to hear from you guys. But yeah, let's jump into some prescriptions now. So Matt, if they enjoyed Alien Romulus, what should they go watch next?
In all honesty, I think you got to go, because to me, Romulus feels like the third movie of Prometheus. So I would say go watch Prometheus.
Oh, Alien Prometheus.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a little bit of a cop-out answer, but I'll take it.
I feel like you got to know where it all starts outside of the first Alien.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think what was refreshing about Alien Romulus was the cast, the young cast and what they were able to do with it. I hope it pulls in a new demographic of Alien fans, and I think it also just helped to re-energize this sort of this franchise and dare I say even this genre. Sci-fi is okay, with movies like Dune out there.
Yeah.
It's in a good place, but this sort of horror sci-fi subgenre, I think it needed a win. And I think this is definitely the win for it. So I'm going to go with another movie that's set around a group of teens and is similar in I think, vibe to Alien Romulus. I'm going to go with the original Scream. I think the original Scream really did sort of re-energize the campy slasher horror genre. And I think that, it's actually... I'm not a fan of camp. I'm actually pretty anti-camp when it comes to horror movies, but I think Scream does it and does it correctly.
Yes.
It's very self-aware. Again, it has all of those sort of cliche character types in it. It's just one of my favorite horror films, for sure.
I respect that.
Yeah, the original Scream. All right, so that is going to do it for the operating room. We're going to jump straight out of the operating room and into this week's installment of The Question. There it is. Back with a vengeance. All right, so the question this week is, who or what is the monster movie GOAT? And for those of you who are uninitiated, GOAT stands for greatest of all time. So
damn, I thought we were talking about a monster goat. I had to change my whole answer now.
Monster GOAT. Black Phillip from The Witch.
Yeah,
That's the only
exactly.
one I can think of. Yeah, so Matt, who's the monster movie greatest of all time monster movie?
And it is so funny that you say this too.
Monster from a monster movie, sorry. Movie monster.
Yeah. But like, oh crap, that does kind of change my answer because I was thinking Michael Myers, because he's a revenant, but he's not a monster.
Not a monster, yeah.
I absolutely love I don't think you can go wrong with Dracula. I think he's or Nosferatu.
Okay.
I think vampires
qualify, right? They're monsters.
They're a monster.
They're not real, Yeah.
I mean, again, how many times Michael has not died? But I digress. But yeah, I think Dracula is one of the greatest of all times. Okay. Going from like the OG movies to the joke movies that we have to even like Van Helsing, I just think that whenever you don the mantle of being the vampire, there's a special level of pizzazz that you have and charisma, and you have to play this character that could this creature believably terrorize a whole city, and whenever Dracula is in the mix, yes.
Well, okay.
So vampires, but Dracula specifically.
That's a good one. I think that's a great, like, your logic for that is great. I think you could go a lot of different ways with this question. I think you could look at something like Godzilla, as being a literal king of the monsters. You could do something like Pennywise for just being a creative monster, you know. I'm gonna go with you went very overarching, you know. I'm gonna go very specific. I'm gonna go with the Velociraptors from Jurassic Park.
Oh man.
Yeah. From the original Jurassic Park. I know they are in the Jurassic World movies and they're almost like they're not the same as
I don't say they're comical, but in a way they're a little bit more comical of each other.
In that first Jurassic Park movie, they were like, they were formidable. You know, I think they could have given the Xenomorphs a run for their money. You know, where's Alien versus Jurassic Park? We need that movie.
The scene from the OG Jurassic Park where the kids are in the kitchen and they're just like, and they're like clicking. Yeah. That still makes me uneasy because I'm just like this. Yeah, they are that hyper intelligent that they're talking to each other. And it's just unsettling.
Yeah, and listening to like the zoologist guy talk about them, you know, like his sort of like almost Jaws-esque speech that he has about how clever they are and how smart they are, and they're just the perfect movie villains in my opinion. Like they're are they evil? Not really, because it's nature, you know. It's like what else is a Velociraptor supposed to do but eat, you know? So that would be my choice. And you know, if anybody out there is like, well, they were real, the Velociraptors that we got in Jurassic Park were not what real Velociraptors would have looked like.
No, they were like giant chickens.
They were like giant chickens, and so that's why I think it qualifies. But yeah, that's the question for this week. So if you guys have an answer to this week's question, who or what is the movie monster GOAT? Definitely let us know. We'd love to hear your answers. But before we get into the waiting room segment, we're going to take a quick break. Like I said, on the other side, we're going to be discussing some news stories. And we'll let you guys know what's going on next week's episode. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We're going to jump into this week's waiting room segment. One big news story we're going to be discussing about this week is the D23 convention just wrapped up. So D23 is the yearly Disney convention where, you know, they break down and showcase all of their upcoming projects, sort of like their version of Comic-Con. So we're gonna get into some of the announcements that were made about some of their upcoming films. So we're just gonna be reading off. We'll go over sort of our thoughts and expectations for these movies. So let's jump into it. First off, let's talk about Moana 2. Excited, Matt, or not excited?
Great question. I love the first Moana, and I feel like sometimes in Disney movies they don't need sequels. So I don't think Moana needed a sequel. Okay. But I'll watch it. I'm excited. I just don't think it needed it, though.
Yeah, Disney movies are famous for either having really good sequels or for having sequels where people are like, well, why did you guys do that?
Yeah, God, like, why did Toy Story 2 have to happen?
Yikes.
No, I was kidding.
I was going to say, that's one from the other side.
I love Toy Story 2. But yeah, I just didn't think Moana needed it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Moana made a bunch of money at the box office. It's probably one of the most watched Disney movies of the new era, so I feel like it had to happen. They couldn't leave that much money on the table. The trailer does seem like it's going to be good. I mean, I'm excited to see the story of Moana continue. It doesn't just look like a throwaway sequel, so we'll see. I'm sure we'll be talking about it when it hits theaters this year. Snow White. We got our first teaser trailer for Snow White. This one, you know, I can honestly say I have absolutely no interest in seeing this movie. And, you know, I hate to say that because I'm going to be lumped in with all the fucking incels who are boycotting this movie because how dare they have a brown girl play Snow White, you know, which that is the furthest thing from my reasoning for not caring about this movie. Yeah, exactly. The trailer just didn't do anything for me. I was never a big princess guy. I don't think I've actually ever seen the real original Snow White.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Snow White. I don't think I've ever seen Cinderella.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I've ever seen
I
I
love
don't think I've
Cinderella.
ever seen Little Mermaid, to be honest with you.
You know, you don't need to. I'm not good.
So yeah, princess movies just were not big in our household. So I never got around to seeing a lot of these. So maybe if I had seen the original, I would be more interested in this. I mean, I have seen the remakes. Like I saw Cinderella, I saw Maleficent, the live action remakes that have come out.
Terrible.
And I didn't think they were bad. Like I don't think there was anything wrong with Cinderella. I don't think Maleficent was necessarily terrible. It wasn't my cup of tea. So I just these live action remakes have never really done anything for me. And yeah, this one looks even less like interesting to me. Like the trailer just seems like all CGI. The dwarves look weird.
Yeah, well, they got so much. If I had to like do like a one word summation of my feelings for this movie, it's why.
Yeah.
Because they went through so much hell when they originally weren't going to do dwarves, and then they had to recast them, and then for them to do a harsh edit that they are now, they just look compared to Rachel Ziegler, who was there, and you see them, I was like, damn, this is like Jungle Book did this way better.
Yeah.
Jungle Book's live action.
You're like, it's 2024, right? Like the CGI should get better. Like
Disney said, hold my beer.
Yeah, they said
Hold my Mickey Mouse fan club beer.
I almost feel like it has to be intentional that it looks like this. Like this had to be what they were going for, right? Like there's no way that's accidental.
Yeah, I think that might be a pull to kids.
Maybe.
Because again, look, as an adult looking at that, I'm like, that does not, they look funky as hell. Yeah. And I think for me, like, I'm not excited for this just because it just, for me, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is my least favorite of the princess movies. Okay. So I'm just kind of like, it's okay. I mean, why are you making it because of all the shit that's gone down with it? But all right, cool.
Yeah. I mean, every one of these movies will be made into a live action movie at some point. So it's just a matter of when, not, if. But yeah, let's move on. We got our first look at Stitch in the live action remake of Lilo and Stitch. This doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look, to be honest with you.
I don't want it. But I'm also excited because Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite Disney movies.
Yeah.
Getting to hear the little the gibberish that he says, I'm like, all right, man. He doesn't look bad.
I'm glad they didn't go for like a hyper realistic look. I'm glad it's still like cartoony. So yeah, I think it could have looked a lot worse. But yeah, I'm not mad at this. I think it'll be fun. I don't know. Again, is it necessary? Absolutely not. Do we need a live action Lilo and Stitch? No. Who's asking for it? I have no idea. Will I watch it? Probably.
Yeah. It's one of those. Who's asking for this? No idea. I wish they would. I wish they would do consensus to the world.
Yeah.
Do you want these movies? No.
Something I do want though is that we're getting is Incredibles 3.
Yeah, dude.
Another Incredibles. I was one of the. I don't want to say few people because I think the general consensus is that Incredibles 2 was really good, but you never hear anybody talking about it. I really enjoyed Incredibles 2. I thought it was very good. I watched it a few times since it came out, and I just think it's a movie that ages well. It's a movie that I think is a great companion to the original. I thought it was really good. So I have no reason to doubt Incredibles 3.
Were we not recording when
I
the
think we
second
were.
one?
I'm pretty sure we were.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love the second one.
Yeah.
I like the resurgence of the superhero world.
Yeah. Cool. We got it from we got an Elastigirl centric story.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I love Bob having to navigate the life of being a stay-at-home dad with a child that has multiple powers.
Yeah. Jack was great.
Even Jack versus the raccoon was just amazing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so yeah, sounds like we're both excited for Incredibles 3. Good. All right, moving on. Toy Story 5. Man.
Stop.
Who knew that there would be 5 Toy Stories? And I want to agree with you. And every time there's a new Toy Story that's announced, I'm like, man, do we need another one? And then I watch it and I'm blown away. Like, I feel like
did you love 4?
I loved 4.
Oh.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with 4 as a movie.
Okay.
People who don't like 4 because they don't think it should exist. They went into that movie being like, we didn't need another one. And they went in to be validated in that. But if you watch Toy Story 4 and you just watch it as a movie, it is a great movie. It's got a great story. It's got, great voice acting. It's everything about that movie is really good. Great characters. The new characters are cool. Who doesn't love Bunny and Ducky? Who doesn't love Forky?
Oh my God. I did love Forky.
These movies have just gotten progressively better in my opinion. So I have no reason to to doubt Toy Story 5. Do I? If you would have asked me a year ago if I needed a Toy Story 5, the answer would be no. Do I feel like we need a Toy Story 5 now? No, but why not? You know,
Okay.
like if the other ones have lived up to the expectations, why not give us a fifth one?
I guess for me, where I come from is the third one was such a good goodbye at first. You know, Andy's going off. He's growing up because we all grew up with Andy because we're all 90s kids.
Sure.
So I loved that as the goodbye. And then the fourth one, even though I initially didn't want the fourth one, I did enjoy it. And I love that it was Woody's swan song. That Woody was like, hey, you guys go.
Yeah.
She loves playing with you guys. Let me go be with Bo. So if the fifth one is, as long as the fifth one doesn't bring back Woody, which there's no way they don't.
Yeah, it's going to bring back
There's
Woody.
no way it doesn't. I feel like, so my apprehensions are right now just because I'm like, man, like you guys have done so well at ending the story for these characters. Why do you keep muddying it by adding more? But like you said, every time I've had apprehensions, I go see it. I have a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
And that's a fair point. I think also we kind of have to get rid of, and not just us, you know, me and you, but I think millennials need to get rid of the idea that something is ours because it came out
Very true.
when we were younger.
Space Jam 2.
Space Jam, yeah, exactly. Like that wasn't for you, like, you know.
Yep.
It was for the new kids. So I think it's cool. I think we need to get away from that, and I think that it'll be cool that I can, you know, I saw Toy Story, you know, when I was a very young child. And now I'll be able to take my young child to see a new Toy Story.
Oh, it even says in here, I'm super sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Woody, Buzz, and the gang will be fighting to stop their new child from becoming an iPad kid. Oh,
yeah.
Well, okay. So Woody is coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I think it'll be cool to share that experience with Mike. It's like a full circle moment, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and I think other millennials can and should have that same outlook on it, you
Fair
know?
enough.
Like, hey, you know, we watched these when we were kids, and now we get to experience it with our kids.
Fine. Take your high horse and your high road and ride off into the sun.
You know, I think the only reason I think they would stop or should stop doing Toy Story is if anybody from the original cast decides they don't want to do it anymore.
Okay, I respect that.
You know, I don't think we should recast anybody. If it ever comes to a point where Tim Allen or Tom Hanks or Joan Cusack or whoever, you know, does the voices for these characters decides that, hey, I don't want to do it anymore, then I think we should just stop. Like, or remove that character.
Yeah.
And then if you start removing characters, then you should probably just stop making them.
Well, they need to for Mr. Potato Head, right? Because
I thought he passed before 4. And, you know, Potato Head is a great character, but I don't think Potato Head is a main character.
Okay, fair enough. My bad.
I don't think
It's not Woody or Buzz, man, dude.
Yeah, I don't know who that actor is. I apologize, but I don't think he was getting cut as fat a paycheck as Tom Hanks or Tim Allen is.
Fair enough.
So yeah, moving on. Frozen 3.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
They need to let it go.
Frozen 3, this is what caught me most off guard about Frozen 3. Sometime in 2027 is when this movie is coming out. Like, what why? Like, I know the reason it took so long for Frozen 2 to come out is because they said they were pushing the envelope as far as animation goes. They wanted it to be like this new incredible thing, and they were able to do some really, really cool and ambitious things with the animation in Frozen 2. But is that where we're going with Frozen 3 as well? Is that why there's such a gap? But man, like, because Frozen 2 came out what, 2021, 2022? When did Frozen 2 come out? Quick Google break.
2019.
Holy cow. So that's 8 years in between Frozen 2 and Frozen 3. Frozen 1 was what, 2011? 2012?
2013.
Okay, so you got 6 years, and then you got 8 years.
Almost as bad as Avatar.
Almost as bad as Avatar.
I mean, I know I made the joke, you know, you need to let it go. I do think that, though. I don't know if there needed to be a Frozen 3, but it also, every time it comes out, billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah. And Frozen 2 was good. There was nothing bad about Frozen 2. It was a good movie. It didn't have the cultural impact that Frozen did, but
yeah,
it was still good, you know?
I think that's fair to say. I didn't absolutely love Frozen 2 because I loved Frozen 1. I was like, man, this was a really, really fun take, a new age for Disney.
Yeah.
And I didn't think, and I liked Frozen 2, but I was like, it was okay.
Yeah.
yeah, Frozen 3. And especially for them to show that it's like, hey, this is happening, but not for another 3 years.
For another 3 years.
Why not?
And I'm sure it'll either be, it's going to be a holiday release. There's absolutely no way
yeah.
it's not a holiday release. So it's either going to be Thanksgiving or Christmas 2027. So that's a full 3 years from now.
Yeah, that to me is dumb because D23
crazy.
happens every year. So why would you not just wait till it's a year or two out? Why would-
That blows my mind.
All right. And then and also they're saying there are plans for a Frozen 4.
Yeah, which, why not? If you could take 10 years off between movies, why not say there's going to be a Frozen 15 in 100 years?
At this point, fuck it.
Yeah, I guess same thing though, right? As long as Adina Menzel and Kristen Bell are willing to come back for it, why not?
Or maybe Frozen 3 will be their kids.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, actually, no. It'd only be Kristen Wiig because
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell. I'm sorry, Kristen Bell because Elsa don't need no man because she is her own.
She don't need no man.
But truthfully though, I gotta say as a quick standpoint, I love that they went that way. That here is a princess or a queen that didn't need a love interest.
Yeah, of course.
I thought that was really dope for Into.
Different for sure. That's why. Yeah, they again. Nothing. I don't have a bad thing to say about Frozen 2, but do I need a Frozen 3? I don't. I don't need it. But will I like it when it comes out? Probably. That's going to be the theme of this segment. Don't need it. Will I watch it? Yes. Will I like it? Probably. Speaking of which, Zootopia 2.
Yes.
You need this one. This is one you need.
I love Zootopia 1. Okay. Zootopia 1, I don't know what it was about that movie. Every aspect of that movie I absolutely enjoyed.
It's a great movie. Funny.
Yeah.
Topical.
Jason Bateman was fucking just hitting it as Nick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I needed to. I'm excited that they're announcing it too.
Why you needed to on this one, but not on the other ones that you liked?
I feel like Zootopia hit a better... I don't know if cultural aspect is the right word, or it hit really well on society of how because you are this, we need to view you as a problem. And it's like, I really liked how they navigated that.
They can't do that again though, can they?
No, I don't think they can.
But don't they? Do you feel like they need to have another heavy hitting social commentary?
I feel like they do. And I feel like there's a lot of topics where they could sneak it in.
Okay.
And again, I wanted to because I feel like the first one did really well explaining that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see if they can do it well or if it's going to be like a Frozen 2. Well, okay, they did it. It's okay.
Fair enough.
What about you? Not excited for Zootopia 2?
I'm excited for Zootopia 2. Well, I'm not excited for Zootopia 2. I'm not excited for Zootopia 2. I am going to watch it and I will probably like it. But again, it's like, would I have been disappointed if they never made another Zootopia? No, because I think Zootopia was its own thing. It's like Wreck-It Ralph, right? Like I loved Wreck-It Ralph. Did I need Ralph Breaks the Internet? No, but did I enjoy it? I thought it was a good movie.
Okay.
I didn't have any problems with Wreck-It Ralph 2. But I just think that these movies, and maybe that's a blessing and a curse, Maybe it's like the originals are so good that we don't need a sequel.
Yeah.
No one's calling for a sequel to these movies, but we're inevitably going to get one because that's just how Disney works. Yeah. Disney really is. They are pretty much like undefeated when it comes to animated movies.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part.
Their only close competitor is DreamWorks at times.
Yeah, and DreamWorks is not hitting the same way as Disney.
No.
On these movies. They don't become cultural phenomena. You might get a handful like Shrek or, it's not DreamWorks, but with Illumination, you get like Despicable Me. And maybe, you know what? Maybe what makes them hit so hard is that they don't come out as frequently as like sequels to.
No, that's true.
Because we're on Despicable Me 4 right now. And
yes.
We've gotten 4 sequels in the last 10 years.
And you've gotten
the Minions movies. Yep. Yeah, several Minions movies.
Yes.
So
they've hit the right algorithm by, hey, we're gonna release one every 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And we know it's gonna make millions because you guys wait on us on bated breath.
Yeah, that's true. No, but I'm excited for Zootopia 2.
Okay.
I will see it. I will see it enthusiastically. All right. Let's move on to I got another one down here. Some non-animated news. The Fantastic Four. They had their first official snippet debut at D23. Obviously, we've been gone since all the Fantastic Four news has dropped. So we'll do just a really quick. What are your thoughts? What are your expectations? What are your worries about Fantastic Four?
I think my worries are because the thing is that Marvel is in this weird space where I want them to fucking go away. Stop making movies. You're fucking killing me. But I also want them to make a movie that makes me want to go see movies.
Okay.
So with an addition of a new team of movie, my fear is that you try to make them two Guardians of the Galaxy because that algorithm worked.
Sure.
Don't do that. That's not Reed. That's not the Fantastic Four.
Sure.
Johnny is kind of like Star-Lord, the Star-Lord that you perpetuated, but don't do that. So that's kind of my fear is like they're going to be trying to swing away at like, we got to do it. This has to be the one that gets us back in the black with our Marvel movies.
Sure.
So that's one fear. And then my other fear is too many villains. If you're trying, because I know Galactus is the one that they've been talking about is the villain.
Yeah.
And then you also, I mean, everyone's seen it.
Doom.
Yeah.
But I think he's the new overarching, he's the new Thanos basically.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking it'll be a post-credit scene or we'll get a hint of him in this one, but yeah, we won't actually see him.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I am excited though. I love Pedro Pascal. I love Jessica Kirby. Vanessa Kirby. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Vanessa Kirby. And then also Joseph Quinn is hot right now because of Eddie.
That was going to be my question. This is the first time we're not, I mean, Joseph Quinn is, and this might rub some people the wrong way, but I was going to say this is the first time we're not getting a heartthrob as our Johnny Storm.
Hey.
Is Joseph Quinn a heartthrob? Am I just disconnected right now?
Hey, you know what? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, you son of a bitch.
No, I'm not saying he's bad looking.
Yeah.
But he's not Chris Evans or Michael B. Jordan.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, Johnny is, I mean, depending upon what age you pick him up at, sometimes Johnny is the heartthrob. Sometimes Johnny is, he's just a lovable uncle.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess, is Joseph Quinn your heartthrob by the standards of Michael B. Jordan and Chris Evans? No. But I don't think he's a bad looking dude.
No, I'm not saying he's bad looking.
He's got a great personality.
He's not Michael B. Jordan.
That's not fair. But yeah, I'm excited for the cast, and I think Pedro Pascal. I love him. Give me more of him.
No, I agree. I think the cast is great. There's not a bad cast member. I mean, you didn't mention Eben Moss-Bachrach, but he is obviously the thing is always interesting because you're not actually ever going to really see him.
Yeah.
Other than maybe the beginning of the movie.
I love him in The Bear.
Yeah, he's great in The Bear. I think he's got great delivery. He's got great emotional timing, so I think that's all important when you're playing a CGI character.
Yes,
I think this film could also live and die by the Thing, especially with Marvel's track record with CGI.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how you do a completely CGI character that's going to be a main character in a film. Obviously, we have Korg from the Thor movies.
Yes,
but he's not in the movie a ton. So I just hope that they do a good enough job, but I don't know if good enough is going to be good enough.
And it's going to be hard, too, because Galactus is the planet eater.
Yeah.
So how is the CGI going to look on him? Are they going to put all their eggs in the basket for the villain?
Yeah.
And then the Thing takes a hit. But then, yeah, I feel like Disney, you got to really button it down because this is where it's going to make or break you.
And we have another, isn't there another villain as well? That Julia Garner is playing that's been gender bent, or
she's
the
Silver
female
Surfer
version of a character, right?
She's Silver Surfer.
Okay.
And that's again a 100% CGI character, so and if you get really nitty-gritty with it, anytime Johnny activates his powers or anytime Reed activates his powers, so that's a new fear that I didn't even think about.
Yeah,
because Disney does suck with their CGI.
It's going to be a CGI heavy movie, unlike some of the other Marvel movies where you just throw him in his suit for most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm excited though. I think it'll be different. I'm glad it's set in the 50s or the 60s, so that'll be cool. So we get a different vibe of Marvel. It won't just be the same that we've seen for the last couple decades. I think it'll be good. I haven't been dialed into Marvel for a very long time. Maybe this will get me back into it, but we'll see. I think the cast is great. I'm excited for it. All right, moving into the penultimate topic here. Avatar 3 it got an official subtitle, Avatar: Fire and Ash. So set to hit theaters Christmas 2025. So one more year, which is
Hey,
a huge improvement
thank God.
from the 9-year gap before.
I don't got to be a grandpa telling my kids, I remember when that first movie came out. Motherfuckers.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I'm someone who didn't love either the original Avatar or the sequel. I watched an interview with James Cameron the other day when he was talking about like we just want to tell stories about Pandora. Like we just want to expand on Pandora. We want to tell more stories in this world. We want to see more of Pandora. That's his sort of driving force for continuing to make these sequels, right? He wants people to see more of this planet that he created, which I totally understand. I respect it.
Why'd you wait 12 years?
I also feel like, that's all fine and good, but this isn't a Discovery Channel series, right? We need a story.
Yeah.
We need there to be a solid plot. We need there to be solid character development and characters. And I know a lot of people enjoyed Avatar 2. And I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was terrible. I just didn't think it warranted that 9-year gap, and I don't think it deserved to be now the third highest grossing movie of all time.
Damn, did it really get that high?
Yeah, it made almost as much money as the original. So, I need more from James Cameron and from Pandora. So, if this was a Discovery Channel series, right, and they were just going to go and show us more Pandora and, with some voiceover and some animals, then yeah, I watch the hell out of that. But if you're going to put it on the big screen, it needs to be more than that.
Yeah, I never watched Way of Water.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah, I just,
You loved the first one, though.
I did. But then again, 9 years passed, and I was like, why did you wait so fucking long? And I get he says, technology wasn't where I wanted it to be. Yeah. Okay, fair. But yeah, no, something just in my heart said, don't go see it. Don't let it be okay that he waited 9 years to make a sequel. Which obviously I was one of the outliers because it made almost as much money as the first one.
Yeah.
So maybe, maybe I'll watch Way of Water just to see, but it's also hard to sit down and hey, do I burn the next 3 hours watching a movie?
Yeah.
That I'm half in, half out of.
Yeah, fair enough. We can watch it in parts, split it up.
Oh, that's true. Like The Irishman.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But cool. Yeah, I don't know if I can say I'm excited about it. I don't even know if I can say that I want it, but it's coming whether I want it or not.
Yeah.
This one, the fourth one, the fifth one, however many James Cameron wants to make, and I'm sure they'll all make a boatload of money. But moving on to the last and maybe least of the movies that we're going to be talking about, Freaky Friday 2 is now titled Freakier Friday. So yeah, we got Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan back, obviously, for Freaky Friday 2, which I talk about a sequel I never thought I needed or wanted or dreamt would ever happen. Freaky Friday would be at the top of that list. Yeah, I have no interest in this movie. I'm sorry. I was never the target demographic for Freaky Friday.
I was gonna say, I don't think anyone can blame you.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless this wins, if we're recording and this wins a poll, I'll watch it. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, I had a good time with the first one when I was a kid. Because I always thought that was just a funny situation to be in.
Sure.
But I rather would have liked Parent Trap 3 somehow. Parent Trap 2, I mean. bring them back, but yeah, I don't know. I can't say that I'm excited to watch Freakier Friday.
Yeah, 21 years ago. First one came out in 2003.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. 21 years ago?
Years ago.
Was I 12? I was 12. I was 11.
You're 11, yeah. 2003.
I was 11 years old.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I only liked it because I like Lindsay Lohan because I had a crush on her. So yay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of a dour note to end on, but hey, were there any new movies in this?
Tron Ares.
Tron Ares. Okay, yeah.
Which I mean, I love that second Tron movie. I never watched the OG, but the whole soundtrack.
Tron, what was it? Tron Legacy? Is that what it was?
Tron Legacy. But Tron Ares, if it bring back Daft Punk, I don't know how you'll do it because they broke up. But if you bring them back, I'm in.
Oh, sorry, we have a couple more to go. I was looking at the wrong list. Okay, so yeah, Trine Aries, I'm excited for. Jared Leto. Jared Leto is hit or miss with me though. Sometimes he's too much.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges, I'm always excited for. So
he's a good actor.
He's perfect. Yeah. So Mufasa is a much more fitting ending. For so we don't end on a dour note.
Yeah. Don't like Freaky Friday. Move to Mufasa.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks good. I didn't hate the live action, quote unquote live action Lion King that we got a few years ago. Man, that's been a while too since that was that 2006, 2018, 2017. I remember my wife and I were in DC at the time, but we weren't married at that point, so I don't know when that was, but it was a while ago. So this is a direct sequel to, or prequel, I guess, to that movie.
2019 was The Lion King.
2019, okay. So a direct prequel to the Lion King live action. The trailer was the first time I actually saw the trailer was during the Alien movie last night. Did they play it? Yeah. And it's interesting because it's a lore that I didn't know would be that interesting. I didn't realize that Scar and Mufasa weren't actual brothers.
Yeah,
the trailer explains that, and that I guess Scar was actually the one that was in line for the throne. So I'm excited to see how Mufasa sort of usurped him. That'll be an interesting story. It'll be an interesting story to tell for sure.
I'll have to go back and rewatch that. Really?
Yeah, because they talk about, because it's Taka, right?
Taka is Mufasa's name.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why is Mufasa not Mufasa?
Oh my God! No, never mind. I'm an idiot. Taka is Scar's name. Oh.
Taka is Mufasa's name.
My bad. Because Taka means trash, I think. Or there's like a whole thing where like they're like Scar's name is not Scar, it's Taka.
Yeah.
And then I guess like from the language that comes from is it means trash or something like that. I could be misquoting it aggressively, so sorry. But yeah, I am excited to see. Yeah. How did Mufasa do this then?
Because Mufasa, is the orphan in the trailer.
Yeah.
He's the one that Taka finds, floating down the river. Which, there's no symbolism there at all, orphan floating down a river. No. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out. How Scar, I'm sure we'll see how Scar gets his scar. I'm sure we'll see how he, it'll be. There's so much there that I'm curious about that I wasn't before the trailer. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, I think I like that it is actually like a retelling. Because the trailer shows Rafiki talking to clearly the child of Simba and Nala, and then I'm excited. I'm excited to see
if they're going based off of Lion King 2.
Oh God, I don't even know. All I remember from Lion King 2 is Kovu.
Kovu, and that was Scar's kid.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe. Someone's going to quote us on that and get upset.
Yeah, because Scar's kid, don't they like fall in love?
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's like kind of weird because they're cousins, but they're not real cousins.
No.
And they're also lions, so.
Yeah, it gets
same rules don't apply.
It's like, is it weird? Maybe, but it's also animals.
It's also animals.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You think about it, if you really start thinking about lion, there's only one male and you got a bunch of
females because the lion kills.
So Nala and Simba were most likely
brother
and sister. Yeah, so.
I always love Lion King 2.
Energy.
Yeah. I always love Lion King 2 for that damn song. Betrayal, discreet. I love that damn song. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for this one because again, it is weird to see that Taka Scar is actually the king, but then Mufasa is the orphan.
Yeah.
And no, 100%. I think I like also because the first one I had a really rough time with the live action, quote unquote. Yeah. Because the faces didn't feel very animated.
There's no emotion. Yeah.
There's no emotion. It actually looks like they did some.
Looks like they changed it up a little bit, and I'm sure it's gonna make it come across as less realistic, but it's necessary.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's definitely necessary. We needed that. All right, so that is going to wrap up our D23 discussion. Let us know which of these you guys are most excited about. Next week, we're going to be digging into either The Crow or Blink Twice. So that poll will be up on the Instagram at some point next week. So make sure you guys jump on there to vote. you have any preference, Matt, on which one you're gonna be voting for?
I mean, you know me. I'm so excited for The Crow.
Okay.
Which I am, but there's also like I have my apprehensions to it.
Sure.
But I do love the idea of seeing Channing Tatum be a villain. So
yeah,
I think Blink Twice might be the one I go for.
Nice. Yeah, Blink Twice. I'm super excited for Zoe Kravitz seeing her directorial debut, I believe. Did you know Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum were dating? I had absolutely no idea.
I know as of right now. that is so wild to hear.
Yeah, that they've been dating for years apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, good on them.
Good on them. But yeah, so I'm excited for that. The Crow, I can take or leave. I'm not a big fan. If it ends up being The Crow, I'll have to rewatch the original just to see if I might enjoy it a little bit more than I thought I did when I watched it years ago. But yeah, we'll get to that. So yeah, vote. Make sure you guys vote on the Instagram. The Instagram and the Facebook are both just the Movie Docs, so you can follow us on there and make sure you're getting the latest updates about the show. You can always send us emails to themoviedocs@grizzlyvoices.com. We'd love to hear from you guys if you're more old school. Remember to follow us on Spotify and YouTube at the Movie Docs. Yeah, but that's gonna wrap up our show for today. So as always, thanks for listening, and until next time, my name's Adonis.
And I'm Matt.
Bye, guys.
Bye.